Hi everyone, I'm Pranita and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are making Moong Dal Dosa, or it also can be called as savory lentil crepes. So let's get started. These are the ingredients you're going to need for this recipe. You need some cilantro, a handful of it, a teaspoon of ginger garlic paste. To make a teaspoon of ginger garlic paste, you have to mix half a teaspoon of ginger paste and half a teaspoon of fresh garlic paste. That becomes as 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste and 1 serrano pepper. And you're also going to need a cup of whole moong dal. And I have this split moong dal as well, which I'm going to talk in detail why it is there. But the other ingredient we are also going to need for this recipe is some rice. For 1 cup of lentils, we are going to need half a cup of rice. This is a short grain rice. You can choose which type of lentil to add to this preparation. Now this is the star of the show, so try it out like different ways. Don't make a fusion of the batter, but try it out with this lentil and again with this lentil, and just figure out what kind of doshas that you like. And what I did with these lentils is, so I chose the green lentils. What I did with these lentils is I soaked them for 8 hours. Now 4 hours is minimum. You want the lentil to be soaked all the way through. As you can see, the lentils have plumped up double in size, and I've also added the half cup of rice to it, and I've soaked it for 8 hours. This is how it looks. The water gets all cloudy by the time it's nice and soaked. So what I'm going to do is rinse it out and add it to a blender. The ingredients that I have shown you guys earlier, that I'm going to add to the lentils and blend it away. Here are the lentils. I've added it to Indian style blender, and it blends food really well into a puree consistency compared to a food processor. But if you do have a food processor that does purees really well, this is an easy blending lentil, so it should be fine if you have a food processor that works in your favor. So I couldn't add all of the lentils in one turn, so I'm gonna do it in batches. But the next thing to do is to dump in all the other ingredients and let the blender do everything for us. I'm going to add a little bit of salt as well to this. Don't add too much, but you don't want the batter to be bland. So that's why you want it to have a little bit of flavor. And once it's done, I'm gonna show you guys how coarse and how smooth it should be. And I'll see you guys after I'm done blending this. I'm going to add a little bit of water. When adding water, just add until it's 3/4 of the way it's filled. Don't fill it up completely. You don't need that much liquid when you're blending a lentil that has been soaking a lot. So just add 3/4 of it, and if you think that your blender needs a little bit more help, you can add a little bit more, like a couple of tablespoons more, and blend it away. So now I've added a teaspoon of cumin seeds to the batter, and now I've given it a stir to mix everything. I've added a little bit of salt so the batter is nice and flavorful. Now this is a little bit thicker to make doshas, even for me. So what we're gonna do is thin it out. For me, a must is that the dosha batter should always be thick so that I can thin it out. And I have my beautiful non-stick dosha pan that has been heating up for me. And now that we have done mixing it really well and ready to be thinned out a little bit at a time, just like a couple of tablespoons at a time, or just a tablespoon at a time, and just nice and gently fold it in. Since it doesn't have to ferment, use it in couple of hours. It doesn't go bad in couple of hours. If you refrigerate it, you can use it after 8 hours as well. But the texture of the dosha definitely changes as if you make it fresh. The doshas come out really more crispy and they have nice airiness to them. But if you do it after, like, let's just say 8 to 9 hours, it comes out a little bit soggy. But don't forget to refrigerate if you are planning to make it after 8 hours. I might have to thin it out a little bit more. My dosha pan seems to be getting hot. Now we are going to talk about the toppings that we can put on these crepes or dosha. So here my pan is nice and hot and I'm ready to make my doshas. I just tried out a tester dosha, a small dosha. That's what the edges that you see. Now we are going to go ahead and make the dosha. I thinned it out a little bit. I used about, you hear that sizzle? A slow sizzle? That's what you're looking for when you are making a dosha. Now you're gonna, and the next step is that the steam that's coming out. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go through that extra batter and start spreading it outside so that you form a nice pretty circle. There you go. And so when you reach the edge, you can keep it a little bit lumpy, or you can thin it out even more, go nearby. And now once you start cooking the dosha, you wanna hit the dosha with right amount of heat evenly throughout the dosha. So what I do is I just move it around. Now at this point you can drizzle it with oil, olive oil or canola oil. I like to drizzle a little bit, don't go too much. You don't even have to use non-stick cooking spray unless your dosha gets stuck to the pan. What happens is if you use a non-stick cooking spray, the dosha it won't let you make the next dosha. It just makes the batter slide off of that pan. I mean, it does what it says. It's non-stick. Once you start seeing a little bit of colorization on one side, you start moving it a little bit. And now let's top it off a little bit with our veggies. As I said, you can use some carrots. It's a nice color contrast. Just grate some carrots and you can add that, and you can also add some mozzarella cheese. Now this is a fantastic dish for kids as well. When you are adding the chili peppers and the ginger garlic paste, make it a little bit milder, or you can divide the batter for kids and adults, so that way you don't make them spicy at all. And the parents doesn't have to, or the grown-ups doesn't have to feel like they're losing on flavor as well just because they have to make it milder for the kids. Now I can see that the crust is, now I'm cooking on medium high heat, so from one dosha to making another dosha, I'm not gonna take much time. It has to be done quickly. You might think that you can reduce the heat and walk away from it. Don't do that. These need a little bit of attention, and I already see a nice colorization over here. Now it's time for this. You just select the area, move the pan, go ahead. I hope you guys were here to eat this right away. So we're gonna fold it in the half. Make sure it's not breaking. And once it's done, take it onto a serving plate. And there's no more waiting time. Here for the sizzle. Then start spreading it out. You want it to spread out smoothly. And as the steam comes out, it hardens the batter. And then you're gonna just spread it out easily. Use a nice flat spoon like this. I mean, it makes your life really easy. Drizzle a little bit of oil, and I'm gonna keep doing these crepes until they're finished. Keep moving, drizzling, and making more. And I'll see you guys after I'm done making these crepes. So I've made a couple of extra doshas, and look at these. They are really nice and crispy all throughout the way. If you want a little bit thinner doshas, and if you don't mind if it's not too crispy, you can thin out the batter a little bit and the doshas come out even thin. So the cumin seeds are everywhere. They're evenly spread and they don't disturb the dosha process. So it's safe to add cumin seeds after you're done blending the batter. These doshas are not only pretty to look at, but they taste great as well. And if you omit the oil completely, there is no fat content in this lentil. So the pesarattu are ready to be served. You can serve it with some peanut chutney or coconut chutney, or a combo of peanut and coconut chutney. But I love serving it with any basic chutney like this, and also a little bit of ginger and garlic chutney. It kind of accents the flavor that is in this crepes as well. So crepes is actually a French dish or an Italian dish where it's very softer and it's made with all-purpose flour. But these are our Indian version, very classic, very traditional crepes. Thanks for watching. You can find this recipe and many more at booklesscooking.com. Thank you.